Hello everyone. Today I'll be reviewing Daddio by Christy Hall. The logline of this script reads trying to find it here. So it was third on this year's Blacklist 2017. It says a passenger and her cab driver reminisce about their relationships on the way from the airport to apartment in New York. So right away what kind of jumps out is it's not the most interesting logline. Like when you think about it, you're like, okay, this is obviously going to be a very dialogue-heavy script. But I mean, it's third on the Blacklist, which means it could actually be pretty good. So I checked it out, and I read it, and I can't say that I was disappointed by the script. I think there were some virtues to it, some merits. But overall, it didn't seem like a film. You know, I don't see this being an actual movie. In terms of being cinematic, it's just like kind of, two people in a cab talking the whole time, and I think that's interesting. I mean, we've seen that contained setup in other films like Buried and other movies like that, and I think there's a potential for it. There's something appealing about it in that it's like you can tell your friend what's this movie going to be about, and I think that's something that screenwriters should learn, which is how to sell your script in like a sentence. And in Daddio's case, it's just the whole movie's about a passenger and the cab driver talking with each other. And I think that makes it interesting, and that makes it maybe worthy to check out. So I read it, and overall I think it has its merits. It's an interesting script. It definitely went to directions I did not think it was going to go, which I think is always good. Like it surprised me quite a bit. It was slow to start off, but I think it's 115 pages. I think the script could easily cut down to 90, and it would be perfectly acceptable. I'm not sure if we need all the extra dialogue and like the beginning that we see in it. It doesn't really do they do these rants on like technology and digits, zero, ones, binary code, and it's just like a bit of it's interesting, but a lot of it's just these literally, like if you read the script, there's just whole pages of just dialogue, and it's acceptable for I guess a script like this, but it really doesn't feel like it's needed. Like I'm sitting there and I'm like, this more just sounds like the writer writing her views maybe on society as opposed to the character. It doesn't sound authentic. Like when we go into a taxi cab, the cab drivers might have opinions on Uber or might have opinions on technology, but they're not going to go and give this huge, 3-hour rant speech on it. They're going to just give you the bare minimum. They're going to give you the bones. So I think that was a bit untruthful in the script. Another issue I kind of had was the characters themselves, in that, like, they did things that were surprising, I think, which was good. It separated them from the pack, but, I mean, we got two characters here, Gurley and Clark. And, I guess we can start with Gurley, since she's the protagonist of the film. And I think she is an interesting character. I don't know if she's completely an original character, though. I don't know if she's, like, someone that pops. And I think in a script where you have just basically two main characters the whole time, I guess I expected something more. And I think that's maybe just me having to tailor my expectations a bit. Like I was expecting, I don't know, maybe like a taxi driver character, like Travis Bickley or whatever his name was, or another type where it's like it relies on the character itself. And this script, like I said before, doesn't really rely on characters so much as it relies on dialogue. Like the whole film is just dialogue. It has to be. There are just two people in a car. There's only so much you can do. So I think, if we go to the dialogue for a second, it was interesting. I thought it was done delicately. It was done well. The rapport between Gurley and Clark did seem truthful, except for, I was like waiting the whole time. When's Clark going to ask the girl what her name is? And he never really does, which was, I don't know, it just didn't seem truthful because she asks him what his name is. So usually in that type of situation, you would probably ask back. So I don't know, but I mean, I get maybe that just serves the purpose of the story. Like the protagonist is supposed to be like anonymous or something like that. Represents all of us or whatever. So overall, I think it is a good script to read for people who want to know because I mean, I think ultimately all our goals are to get on the blacklist or to get representation or to get things sold. And this attracted Daisy Ridley, which is no small feat. So I think what we really want to learn from this is the power, I think, of concept. Concept here is key. Now, Christy Hall, the writer of this, is a playwright in New York. So she wrote what she knew. She's from New York. She wrote about a script that occurs in New York. She obviously kind of loves the city, or at least knows the city. And so she was able to incorporate that pretty cool, in pretty cool ways in the script. And she's a playwright, so I mean, obviously in plays, a lot of it's predominantly dialogue. You're not going there to see the special effects. And so she knew what she wanted to do, and she executed it. And I think that's something that we can all learn from it. Like, she said, here's the story. I have to make Gurley interesting. I have to make Clark interesting. I'm going to write these two, put them in the taxi cab, and leave the reader guessing. And in order for that to work, we have to be heavily invested in the story. What honestly I was waiting for was, the revelations. Like, what makes these two people tick? And I can't say I was disappointed. Like, it was good. I didn't feel like at the end I'd wasted my time. I didn't like how they just left, like, spoiler alert, but how they just kind of separated. Like, I understand they're kind of doing like a lost in translation thing, but like, I just don't like those types of stories, so I don't feel like anything's been gained at the end. I don't feel like we achieved anything. We went on this journey, but it's like we went there and then we came back to our home. Like, we didn't learn anything, we didn't gain anything, and so it's kind of annoying, but I understand from a story perspective how kind of that needed to be done. Or just thematically, it makes sense. So I think along those lines, it fits. That being said, there were things about this script that did surprise me in good ways. I think one thing we can talk about is the sexting that basically went on in the script. And I won't lie, like, it did spice things up in the script in terms of, like, keeping my attention. I think it's kind of like this whole 50 Shades of Grey effect. I haven't seen 50 Shades of Grey, I haven't read the books or watched the movie or anything, but I'm saying, like, I think there's something people are, like, naturally attracted to when it comes to, like, sexuality and film and all that. But anyway, so it did, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it went into this unexpected place where you're like, okay, it's this, the girlie's, like, dealing with basically this jerk who's just, like, horny 24/7. That's all he wants. And you're kind of sitting there and just scratching your head, and there's a part of you that's saying, why are you, taking those photos of yourself and sending it to him? Like, why are you exposing yourself in this way? Why are you being vulnerable? And I think there is this attraction there, like, as the reader, like, you're sitting there like, oh, why are you doing that? But I mean, it just kind of got to the point where I just, like, kind of even lost empathy for the main character. Like, I lost empathy for Gurley. I'm just like, there's something wrong. Like, you just don't respect yourself enough. And I think that, and like, the writer tried making her sympathetic in that she had this, kind of messed up childhood where her father wasn't there for her at all. Like, never gave her a hug, never gave her a kiss, never gave her, like, any positive role model. So that's, like, what she's seeking. Basically, Daddio, hence the Daddio. She's got daddy problems. But the thing is, like, I didn't, like, I guess I don't like weak protagonists. I think that's my thing. I don't mind protagonists with flaws. Flaws make them interesting, but going back to, like, Taxi Driver, for instance, the Travis, Bickley, like, his flaw was, he's, like, a socio, like, he can't connect with people. Like, he sees this rotten society and he can't do anything about it. Now, that's a flaw that I can, like, kind of relate with. That's a flaw I can understand. With her, maybe it's because I'm a guy, I don't understand this stuff, but, like, with her, it's just, her, like, it's never really explored what her flaw is. It's kind of just, like, she has low self-esteem, or she needs, a father figure who also has to be, like, her lover. She needs this type of, positive reinforcement from males around her. And they were trying to, like, portray her as this, then, strong character at the same time. Like, Clark keeps telling her, you can stand up for yourself. You can get up for yourself. And that's another thing. I didn't get that whole bathtub sequence. Like, that was something I totally just could not relate to. Like, being tied up, like, that just sounds traumatic. Like, you're being tied up in this tub of cold water, and, your evil stepsister's, like, trying to get, testing you to see if you can get out of it. Like, that sounded really traumatic, but I don't, like, it was it was definitely traumatic. But it didn't really tell me why she has low self-esteem later on. You know what I mean? So I think it got to the point where I think flaws are okay, but it got to the point where I was really being like, lady, seriously, like you're still gonna be with the guy? Like you're still gonna expose yourself and be vulnerable like this? Like it was just, me scratching my head. So, I mean, it elicited an emotion out of me, to be fair. So the writer did that part of the job in that she made me invested and like I'm sitting there questioning things, but I mean, I don't think it should be to the point where I lose complete empathy for the main character. And then the other interesting aspect, let's talk about Clark for a second. Clark was actually a pretty interesting guy. In the beginning, he's being portrayed as this Prince Charming, like she keeps saying he's masculine, he's good looking, he's got the talk, he's got the walk, he's got the build, he's got all these things going for him. But then, and we think maybe these two are going to be an item. Like, that's what I thought. Like, in my naivety, I'm like, oh, this is going to be like, a movie where she realizes the perfect guy is maybe like right under her nose, and this guy realizes, oh, the perfect girl's right under my nose, yada yada yada. And I'm happy it didn't go that way because that would have been boring and cliche. But Clark was really, I mean, it was interesting when he just casually mentions, he used to cheat on his own wife. He's been married twice and he used to cheat all the time, and gives her like advice on it. And I found it pretty funny, like he's giving her advice on how to be the other woman. Like it was really just, it separated him from the pack. Like it made him all of a sudden this interesting person. And that's kind of what kept me engaged with Daddio. Like I was waiting for more scenes like that where I am being challenged as a reader. Where the writer is going against the mold of what we're expecting and we're seeing something different. And I think that's what she did do well there, to her credit. Like it was interesting. And then like we said in the ending, it's not cliche. It's not like, they get together. I mean, it was a mix of the two, in that they kind of form this connection, but they don't even exchange phone numbers. He doesn't even know the girl's name. So it's kind of understood you're not gonna see these two again. And I mean, in a weird way, it sounded fine. Like both of these guys are damaged people. Both of these guys are flawed. And I like that. I think that was a pretty risky and courageous choice by the writer, in that we don't have a hero in this script. We just have two flawed people. And I think that's her main comment on relationships as well, that it's always about flawed, both people in a relationship are flawed and they have their own things that they're dealing with. And it's just about, I guess, the human journey is about navigating through that. So I enjoyed that aspect of the script. Sorry if this review sounded overly negative. I'm not trying to be, but I think it's good to be critical of the script and being honest. But overall, like I said, I enjoyed it. I didn't feel like I wanted my money back or my time back. I didn't feel like it was a waste. It was good. I learned a lot from it. I highly suggest you guys checking it out if you haven't. Again, like I said, let me know in the comments what you think. And tune in again, because I'll be doing more reviews. So overall, I would give this script about a 7.5 out of 10. It didn't knock my socks off, but it also wasn't bad. I didn't feel like my time was wasted. There's a lot that I think we can all learn from this script, and I highly suggest anyone who's into dialogue or wants to improve it to check out this script. Like I said before, it also shows the power of a simple story, a simple concept. And sometimes, that's all that's needed to break into the industry and to get stars attracted or attached. Like it was an easy story to follow. And I think, in this world of blockbusters where we have all these complicated storylines going on, it's sometimes refreshing to people to just see a simple story about two people in a cab, and bam, them just talking about life. And I think that could be captivating in its own way on screen, especially with a good cast, like with Daisy Ridley and someone else as as Clark. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I do plan on making a lot of videos because I do read a lot of screenplays in my spare time, and I have a lot of opinions on them. And I want this to kind of be a place where we can all share our opinions on these screenplays and talk and interact with each other and hopefully get a community going. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was a bit disorganized. This was my first, review that I've been doing. And hopefully I'll keep learning as I go along. I'm open to feedback and constructive criticism and all that. And let me know if you guys just enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.